matters of importance to the UDP and to the nation. I am very pleased to say that this is a first of its kind press conference. We have been quiet for the last 2 months. Today, the Secretary General will have the opportunity to tell all our compatriots the reasons why we thought it necessary to reject the election results of 4th December 2021, the reasons why we went to court, and other pertinent matters affecting the politics of the Gambia and the United Democratic Parties. But before the party leader gets into this special press conference, he has a few issues, urgent and very pertinent issues that he would want to discuss with Gambians. Again, thank you very much for coming, and God bless you all.
Succinct, brief, and very relevant introduction. I want to say to the members of the media fraternity a happy and prosperous new year to all of you. The new year is still young, so we can still wish each other a happy new year. And I hope that this year will be a year that the media practitioners will remember as one that's advanced their cause, as the year in which their aspirations for most of the things have been achieved, that freedom of the press, freedom of the media will not just be in theory, but it should also be in practice, and that the access to information act that has been passed will be fully utilized by the media, and that there will be no obstacles in them trying to access any information. I thank you all for coming, and the matters that have been referred to by Mr. Tal are matters of national, I would not say concern, or one maybe of national concern, but the other one certainly is not a national concern, but it's of great national interest, and it's one that the whole nation should really be united about. We want to first commiserate with our compatriots in the Fonis who have been displaced by incursions into their areas as a result of incidents between security forces, whether they are under the command of the Senegalese or the command of the ECOMIG, it doesn't matter, security forces, and the rebel groups, virtually trying to turn the Gambia into their theater of war, resulting in the displacement of residents in the surrounding villages in that area. We share the stresses, the inconvenience that our compatriots are going through as a result of their displacement. I understand that the Red Cross Society is stepping in to give the necessary humanitarian aid and assistance that's required. So I want to use this opportunity to appeal to everyone, every Gambian, that we should also assist our compatriots. From 1 kilo of rice to 20 bags, whatever. From 1 cup of oil to 20 gallons of cooking oil. And that, I appeal that we should really make these donations to our compatriots through the Red Cross. That each and every one of us who can, please, let us help our compatriots, go to the Red Cross, and give whatever we have to assist our compatriots. And in the same vein, I'm asking both the governments of Gambia and Senegal to really take the necessary measures so that our compatriots can go back to their villages, live there without being fearful of any incursions, free from intimidation, and they can live there comfortably and sleep at night without really fearing that anything untoward will happen and affect their safety. I appeal to government of Gambia and to the government of Senegal, really, to take immediate measures. This is not politics, and it cannot be politics. No one is politicizing. No one is politicizing this matter. We are all concerned that an event of this nature, an issue of this nature, if it happens, Gambians must speak to it. And we are speaking to it as two Gambians concerned about the fate and plight of our compatriots, concerned about our territorial integrity. That is why we are doing so. Not only our territorial integrity, but also our sovereignty. That's what we are concerned about. And this certainly gives an opportunity to every well-meaning Gambian to really come step forward and help our people and come up with any suggestions that would help assuage the situation and ensure that no such incident occurs again on the territory of the Gambia. Having said that, also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Scorpions, the Buntaluls, the Jeet. I want to congratulate them for their sterling performance. This is the first time that the Gambia has gone to that level in international competition in football. This shows that our young men are growing in the football, and all they need is support, both morally and materially. And every Gambian should really make it his duty to give them the maximum encouragement, at least if by no other means, but morally. I understand they'll be returning sometime today. We are not sure when, whether it will be today or tomorrow. But whatever day, on whatever day they return to the home, I want to ask every Gambian, if you cannot go to the airport, line the streets with the Gambian flag in your hands and congratulate these young men for putting Gambia on the map of on the footballing map of the world. We congratulate all of them. Now, of course, gentlemen of the press, it is common knowledge that on the 4th of December 2021, Gambians went to the polls to elect a president that should be put in charge of the affairs of the state of the Gambia for the next 5 years. The election results were announced on the 5th of December, and then the then incumbent, Adama Barrow, was declared president-elect by the Independent Electoral Commission. We did not believe that the elections were conducted in a manner that was in accord with the law. Or at least aspects of it were not carried out in manner that in accord with the law. As a result, we mounted investigations, and our investigations revealed not what you would call anomalies, but what is clearly regarded as malpractices. Because anomalies can really not affect the elections unless they are too serious. But in this instance, we discovered a great deal of malpractices during the campaign, and before the campaign. Because of our discovery, we decided that we would go to court and challenge the election of President Adama Barrow on grounds that on grounds that the law recognizes. Our complaint, or what we submitted to the court for determination, was that President Adama Barrow's election was invalid by reason of corrupt practices. 2, Adama Barrow was not duly elected or returned, and his election is otherwise invalid. 3, the votes cast in favor of President Adama Barrow in all regions are void by reason of corrupt and illegal practices. 4, the election is otherwise invalid by reason of non-compliance with which affected the result result in favor of Adama Barrow. The election is otherwise invalid by reason of non-compliance with the Constitution and all applicable laws. These were the issues we presented to the court for determination, based, of course, on facts. We deposited in court documentary evidence, and this documentary evidence would include videos, and we had over 2,000 pages of evidence that we deposited in court. However, the Supreme Court decided that our petition, or let me say the petition, should not proceed because of non-compliance with Rule 11 of the elections petition rules. I didn't say our petition, I said no, let me say the petition. Because when it's a petition, probably people will think that this is UDP's, this was UDP. All the matters enumerated here, if the court had heard the evidence and ruled in favor of the petitioner United Democratic Party, it would be any other person, including those who contested in the last presidential election, who would again want to run in the by-election. So they would all have been given the opportunity, so it's not UDP. If we had asked that the UDP's candidate should be declared elected, then that would make it a UDP petition. But this was a petition meant really to regularize the playing field so that anybody who took part in that election could really take part in it again in a by-election if he so wants. Or those who did not take part, yet they want to take part, they could do so. So I say this because every time I hear UDP's petition, UDP call a petitioner, it's not UDP call this petition for the people of the Gambia, championed by UDP as we have always done. Now, as I said, the Supreme Court rejected it on the ground that they are non-compliance with Rule 11 of the election petition rules. We availed ourselves of the right given to us by the Constitution and by the rules of the Supreme Court to apply for leave to review the judgment or the ruling. Again, that application was rejected by the Supreme Court. And that was the only court that we could go to. United Democratic Party strongly feels that our right to have access to justice, that we were denied the opportunity to present a case, that our grounds, our complaints was never heard. And again, so that those who go about to say that UDP's petition was dismissed, they are wrong because it was never dismissed. In fact, it was struck out. So that misstatement, sometimes coming from the media, is inaccurate. Our case was never heard. Whether we were right or we are wrong, it was never heard. So we were denied the opportunity to present a case to the court. And during this, if we are given the opportunity, the Gambian people would know the strength of our complaints. They would know why we are in court. Having failed to be given the opportunity by the Supreme Court to be heard, the National Executive accordingly met and said, well, the option now open to us is to tell the Gambian people what we wanted to tell them in court. And that is what we are now doing. There have been several instances of corrupt practices. Corrupt practices that are prohibited by Section 116 of the Elections Act. And we have it that the slightest evidence of corrupt practice, just one single act of corrupt practice, invalidates an election. But we are presenting to you, the members of the press, at least not less than 20 incidents of corrupt practices committed by Adama Barrow or by his agents to his knowledge, with his knowledge, and by or by his spouse with his knowledge. And all these corrupt practices took place during the campaign period. And we have not mentioned anything about what might have been done in July, because that could not properly be regarded as corrupt practice as far as the Elections Act are concerned. But then whatever took place during the corrupt practices and whatever took place during the campaign period and is done in order to influence the electorates to vote amounts to corrupt practices. Now, as I said, there are at least 20, it's not limited to 20, but there are at least 20 incidents of corrupt practices. And I will now run you through them. I'll give 3 of them which are cash giving. On the 9th of November, the president gave the sum of $1 million to Musa Drame to take to the villagers of Munyagen in purported assistance to help build their health center. The promise had been given in Kuntaya the previous day, when the people of Munyagen it was in Kuntaya the previous day when he made promise to the people of Munyagen that he would give them money towards the construction of their health center. And on the 9th, this money was delivered by Musa Drame, the governor, the CFO, and some other NPP officials. And at that gathering in Munyagen, the emissary, Musa Drame, told the people that the president has fulfilled his promise of giving assistance for the construction of their health center, and gave them $1 million, and Alcalo and other villagers responded that appreciate very much what the president has done and that the only way that their appreciation should be done, if Musa Drame, that the only way that you can show your appreciation to the president for this handsome generation is to make sure that his ballot box is filled with ballot tokens. And that promise the villagers did make. And that promise the villagers did actualize on the voting day by ensuring that they voted for President Adama Barrow. You cannot have any act of corrupt practice than that. But during the same campaign period, the president went to Sutukung, where he had a rally, and at the end of that rally, he decided that he would go to Barokunda to make a courtesy call on the Grand Marabout and the villagers of Barokunda. In the course of interaction with them, he asked someone to bring money from the vehicle, and $100,000 was brought in, and the president gave it to a Mr. Bayo, one of the villagers, and with these words, "Nata ngamfang karafalma, katafayo binakam. Ngamfang karafalma, alla kurusong la munyenti." And these are all on video, gentlemen. These statements that I'm making, they are all on video. At the end of the day, all these incidents, you will have the videos or the photographs. That of Musa Drame is in pictures. You'll have it, and the others, they are on videos. You'll have the videos given to you. I think we'll arrange for people to send this to you through, how do you call it? Is it soft copy? What? How do you call it? Electronically, because it will not be possible. We can, but it will take us the whole day if we want to show each episode, each incident, if you want to show the video here. Now, that is what happened in Barokunda, and the $100,000 is given. And in Kitty, also, a total sum of $45,000 was given to the youths, and these were in three tranches. First, a $10,000, a second, $10,000, a third, $25,000. And the first one of $10,000 here was given to the youths with a ram, and the $25,000 here was given with a bull. All by Ahmed Jite, and you all know that Ahmed Jite is one of the agents of President Barrow, and he gave it to the youths that he wants them to vote for President Barrow, and indeed, he comes from Kitty, and if President Barrow were to win, if they assist him and President Barrow wins, that would give him also an opportunity of being appointed a minister by President Barrow, and then he can do a lot of things for the people of Kitty. I don't know if this is not corrupt practice. What can be qualified as corrupt practice? Now, in November of 2021, the communities of Bassetti Junction received milling machines from Lady Fatba Barrow, and which Alcalo, at which ceremony the Alcalo was introduced as a member of the NPP. And this donation of a milling machine was also done so that the people of, or the residents of Baseti Junction could really vote for NPP and their candidate, Adama Barrow. And on 30th November at Sandu Misra, also, we have a video which shows that the president's political advisor, Siaka Jata, and some NPP officials were distributing milling machines. And one, can you please and one of the villages in the URR where milling machine was given was Sandu Misra. And not only was milling machine given to them, but Siaka Jata also made a promise that the people of Sandu Misra will get a tractor. And the only thing that could prevent them from not getting a tractor is if President Adama Barrow is not elected. And the response of the people of Misra is that we are going to vote for President Barrow. We've seen the milling machine, and we're going to vote. We know that, so that we can have a tractor. Now, again, on the 30th of November, milling machine was distributed in Kumbija by Siaka Jata and Bubu Drame, and it was also during the campaign period, and it was for no other reason than to get the NPP, to get the NPP's candidate elected as president of this country. Between the 26th and 2nd of December, Siaka Jata delivered a tractor to people in Taibatu, in Taibatu, in Upper River region. And when he did so, he told them, we shouldn't trick each other. We shouldn't trick each other. And we need to accept that the peace and development in this country is due to Adama Barrow. And we can only thank him we can only show him our gratitude by voting for him in December 4th elections. This was when milling machine was given to the people of Taibatu. And, on 2nd December, just 2 days before the vote, Pierre Ba, the chief of Nyani, and Siaka Jata went to Kuntauru. And at Kuntauru, they told them that, I'm quoting, if the people of Kuntauru vote for PPP, vote for NPP, it will be known because Kuntauru is designated as a polling center for only the village of Kuntauru. That only Kuntauru will vote, residents of Kuntauru will vote at that polling station. You know? And he wants NPP to lead UDP by at least 200 votes. Then he thanked them, and Mr. Pierre Ba for the great work he had been doing. And then you can notice it, nobody of the chief because of his weight, because of his lost weight. Now, and at Kuntaur also, milling machine was given to the people, and in fact, what was most striking about it is that that was supposed to be a Gambia government project, but they had stamped on it NPP with the NPP logo, the horse. They had it embroidered on that. A video taken on the 30th of December shows that in Woolly Brief, in Basse, a milling machine was also donated, or at least given, by the regional chairman, Mr. Bubu Drame, and Mr. Siaka Jata to the residents of Woolly Brief. And on 27th November, you have video recordings of Fabu Sane showing that he was distributing milling machine in Kiang, Jurakunda. And after the handing over of the milling machine, he said, word to the effect, if someone gives you breakfast and lunch, be rest assured he will give you dinner when he wins. So if that same individual asks you for another 5 years, compared to the same person who has given mere promises, that is the opposition, and the NPP who is already giving you, whom will you choose? Look, we have come here, we've given you milling machines. And of course, yeah, you cannot compare us with those people who only come here and give you promises. So you must elect President Adama Barrow, and this is an incentive for you to elect him because he has given you breakfast, he has given you lunch, so dinner is certainly assured. This is also on video. And on the 3rd of December, this some that captured on WhatsApp in Jimara, Saranjobo, Sehumbalo was seen there. This was on Friday, and he brought machine to them because these are people of Saranjobo speaking on WhatsApp. That on the 3rd of December, a day that was supposed to be a cooling day, no campaigns. Kumbalo went there and delivered milling machine to the people of Sarajevo, and all because he wants them to vote for President Adama Barrow. On 11th November, I believe this was even on national news. You all know one, probably have heard about Ajinde Njai, the UGDC women leader in Farafenni, who was corrupted, given money, and promised that she'll be given a ticket to go to the Hajj. And because of that, she switched her allegiance from GDC to NPP, and she promised that she was mobilizing all the people in her community, all people who belong to her group, mobilizing them all to join the NPP and vote for President Adama Barrow. And she promised that she will deliver that part of Farafenni to President Adama Barrow, and she did. And she did so because she was corrupted. I'm sure if we watch turn of events around the Tobaski time, you'll probably hear that this woman has been sent to Mecca by President Adama Barrow. Again, that's an act of that's an act of corrupt practice. We all know Chief Yahya Jajusi. He has always been a propaganda mouthpiece for government. We all know how much discomfort. We all know how this man used his office to terrorize UDP supporters in LRR, but in Jara West in particular, during Yahya Jammeh's time. We all know how this man campaigned vigorously that Adama Barrow should not be elected as president in 2016. That's a common knowledge. He did everything to stop Adama Barrow being elected. Now he again switched camp and now stood by Adama Barrow, said that no other person will be elected president of this country other than Adama Barrow. I think these are people who do not know what decency means in life, who do not know what principles mean in life. After Yahya Jammeh had done everything for him, after Yahya Jammeh had pampered him in every way, he turns against Yahya Jammeh and now supports Barrow. But then, not only that, he engages in corrupt practices in the name, to the knowledge, and on behalf of Adama Barrow. He did so when he distributed cooking pots, cooking utensils, so forth, to women's group in Jara West. And he told them that these items are given to me by President Barrow to be given to groups within my circle. And we will start wondering, why would this have been done during election campaign period? 6 months before, this was not done. The milling machines, none was given to these villagers 6 months before the elections. Why during the election period? These were some kind of inducements which was meant to really get their votes in violation of Section 116 of the Elections Act. It's an outright corrupt practice that we wanted to present to the court, and the court refused to hear us. And of course, on the 1st of December rather, the governor of Central River Region, Mr. Abba Sanyang, with Siaka Jata, we are seen on a video in CRR where Mr. Sanyang said, we have this belief that the reason you brought all these voters' cards and showed that you will vote for Adama Barrow. And then, of course, both Siaka Jata and Abasanya gave donations to the people of CRR and urged them that they should vote for NPP. In fact, the presentation that was done, Siaka was on the video saying, well, I'm happy that my own people, my own relations from Lamenkoto are here. And this gives me great hope that in these coming elections, all of you are going to vote for President Adama Barrow. In fact, what has just been brought to you is just a tip of the iceberg. More materials will be brought to you for your use. But the only way that you can be assured of receiving those materials in future is when you cast your vote for President Adama Barrow. And there are several other incidents of corrupt practices in various parts of the country. URL in particular, and in the Nyaminas, in Fladu, all these were documented and indeed presented in evidence form to the Supreme Court of the Gambia, which they have rejected, or not rejected, which they refused to hear. Now, we, on the advice of National Executive, we thought that some of these incidents of corrupt practices should be brought or exposed to the public, so that the public knows that we did not go to court because we are litigious. We didn't go to court because we just wanted to go to court. We went to court because we had substance. We went to court because we had hard evidence. And these are captured in videos. NPP officials speaking to their crimes. And I say speaking to their crimes, that is their violations of the Section 116 of the Elections Act, by donating or giving gifts all for the people in the areas to vote for President Adama Barrow. And we hope that this message will go out and the Gambian people will know that these are some of the reasons why we went to court, corrupt practices. There are other reasons bordering on electoral malpractices. There are other reasons showing how the IEC has carried out registration even at the close of registration in certain centers. Combo South, those evidence we have, and we will release those to you, the members of the press, at the most appropriate time. But for now, this is what we want to share with you, and it's not exhaustive, because it is can have about 2,000 pages, cannot just be this summary, but this is just a summary of what we have. There's more of this. If you had been heard, that would have benefited the Gambia. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Have a preview of these facts. We expect the journalists to verify, to confirm, to check all of these information, and thereafter report objectively on the proceedings here and the quality of evidence we have given you. We will have a few questions for the party leader and for the executive of the UDP. Then we will invite you again at an opportune time to lay even more evidence before you. We don't want to bombard you with all the evidence now. Otherwise, you may not be able to do your fact-finding and fact-checking and cross-checking of facts as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So we will take a few questions and then we will call this press conference the first in the series over. So questions?
Well, a question follow UDP member Talla Mutare UDP Bulu. Ama yo le fokode. Well, many other son in a Kavoko political parties, iki londile for election ono ye contest ni election si ade ka ke ni dalilo le kama ka ko me contest la pour si gagner bare ni man gagner o manyan kan ka ko ye withdraw completely wodo natra femfe yalon ka ko e tarta politico kon le tarta political party na ya lon le dalila senu le kan adu ali ya lon le pour banko la na fa le kan pour ka do ko ke banko e la election luso manyan na ken la ya ko be murula ko ni o ke doron woto mol balonal ka ko mol nyanta lonal ka ko ite ku koten ne yete dundi politico to kabri mo soto no doron i withdrawta ado UDP do me UDP do politico ko no wala Gambia te damanta man Gambia je Gambia me alon ka ko ay me yen sula ne nata murula ko koma ado mari fanando ila banko ni kado kunole o ya tara e mantra masakunda kono kado ko kakumol mel fa kakumol mel itande masakunda la ya o kaken le masakunda nyanta ko dol mel kala e sike no fransa nyem press conference ngakuma semenna nyem na badil mel be foni o mo banko da dalonte adu mantra government to mari kulo mi yalon ka ko masakunda nyanta yemirala ko nyanta nga nyinni nyinke pour problème membe na nyin la dote di mbame be joton safa par mantra government adu me political party ti o sifal itala koleke ane mo kunklina li besa kenona so UDP be mento wolom ko kabrum kunum be mento comme na patio ba taman lale election nata fananno ba contest lale no adu wamu include ni député carte fayo membi na kanten ko mbetarla ka ko mbetarla otole ngajele la dolto presidential candidate ka boy bar ni da national assembly elections nyol to ila patiolo ida ine kanyang wala fana sembe ba so député bon kono adu nin député bonlo nin sonta ka foko député bonyi tata karakilin damana oto bankoni aditala nyatala nyame wala ya nambe continuer lale na politiko la be continuer lale ka mo londi nyin kata fa nala pour ngajo ko député bon me yaron ka foko atele kan jam bambanta bake executive ti ay lo kad ko executive député bun ka executive bondi no bar executive ka député bun bondi no député bun ka fa executive ni luwani eta lon lon lafta ni luwala ya londi so asembo wata bake wadula nak mbajal ka ko ngata jeto nga mol londi pour si je sotono ela fula nyama na moni atnam nyimba fonti na peace pill même ko te santka po ni ajur ma mol kan e bu ka jube no ka mbenyi na mutala ban fo mbenyi na mutala wodo ngake killing ale ni koro practice nyola ali ajube ko ngam même fo video nyilo be senna diele by electronic means albe videos nyol jela albana talo jala be mol rakuma kan moyla ka jube fonga ko mo même fo tan fa to nyaata fa man to nyaaya ni aja ngabe di kolla si nyakini kadu ko la fonko lo woti itata evidence ka ko benyine nat la sai ngamuru ngata do nari e ka be le samba si nyakini ya be deposit to but press conference na ita membe press conference na taban ka ko lafta ka nyiki baro di bi wadi ko don ale na be nyiki baro di la wala ya nam mabe ka si nyakini
am para ko ni karo kala mani ka kamola hani bi da manga di janjandi internet okay my name is Howard Suso and I work for King FM hani bi dorong anga jele ko abe janjandi internet to go the United Democratic Party eba preparation okay kana towards the upcoming National Assembly election atol stand mu munati ali jiko su kala ko fonni election mu kana albeni dolonto de minute mbe dun kan kata fa wala kono nin jiko jelta ka fa ko be si ala jeto mo le jiko so wala yati na be contest la adu be contest la nala ki dala kata fa banko kan nala ki tala be contest la jeto so bareta wala adu mbole fa nan kala
My name is Mark Tumane from Korea Newspaper. I have two questions for you. My first question is, what is the state of UDP and GFA and others Is it intact? And my second question is, will UDP be contesting all the 53 seats in the upcoming National Assembly election?
The first question, UDP and GFA, we were not in a coalition. There was no coalition arrangement. There was no alliance arrangement. They endorsed the candidature of UDP. And that endorsement was for the presidential elections. In fact, they said we endorsed the UDP's candidate for the presidential election. So if anything is to happen again, that could be a matter of discussion. But we did not have any coalition that one would say has broken down. I mean, there was endorsement, and the endorsement was for the presidential election, and the presidential election is gone and over. So we do not see that GFA is in any way bonded in any way with UDP, and so is the same for Madam Marisol Jabate. Now, the question whether we're going to contest the 53 constituencies, that is our plan. That is our plan. We want to contest for the 53 constituencies. And why shouldn't we contest for the 53 constituencies? Yeah. I see that it's the ladies who are dominating this.
Ntado CDB candidate kado poke DK renyo usada wala fini min kala mena bari affilenting albese de ngi jaro finde de kan jamaay adum affilenting député quartier fo ni kana UDP be mulel fere kenola wala mulabe UDP bulu kaje ko NPP fero de yalo go yolle ke pour quartier fayo gagné akana afulanja bari affilenting albese de jaro finde de kan membe den ila masimo diola sa mule fere be taraje kaje ko National Assembly election only, it cannot go for UDP be gagné la ñaan.
Raga Mr. Kanyen, ila jabiro kuma tabake, bari ta jabiro sot la jantore. Na fero momenti, ndo fala moy, ni membe kelela. Woni ana mena fero fala ka fa kombe kelela ke. Kuma tabak ban ka fala jan. Del dammal ben na exemple le wa fa ngala den ngana ko ngeta mande.
This side, please.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Lamin El Sanyan. I report from Benin Bishop. For the truth to be known, it should be heard. And you said that the Supreme Court refused to hear your case. And as you said, it's like due to some procedural nicety. I want you to elaborate more on that. And why do you think the Supreme Court refused to hear your case?
In my introduction, I said when we presented our petition, the Supreme Court struck it out on an application by Adamabaro's lawyers that there was no notice of the presentation of the petition, and that also the issue of costs, security for cost, was not served according to Rule 11 of the elections petition rules. That was their reason for striking it out and refusing to hear our case. We have disagreed with that because in the first place, the petition was served on the President through the Chief of Protocol, and the Supreme Court found that that was good service. Now, on the issue of the cost, we served his lawyer. And according to the Supreme Court rules, the party includes the party's lawyer. So if you serve a party's lawyer, you have served the party himself. And we served his lawyer, Mr. C.E. Mene. And there was an affidavit showing, attaching, the fulfillment of the security. And of course, you serve, issues of security because you want to give the other party maybe an opportunity to look into the sufficiency of the security that you may be providing. But our security was determined by the Supreme Court. We applied, and the Supreme Court said you have to provide security in the sum of $300,000. We provided it and gave notice that we have provided the security of $300,000. There was no rejection or no contention by the other party that your security of $300,000 is insufficient. So it should be reviewed. There was no such thing. So it was just on a mere technicality. Because already, what is the essence of the notice? The essence is for you to know that an action has been brought against you. They know that action has been brought against them because they were served. And it was because of the fact that they know that an action was brought against themselves, that is why he was able to hire a lawyer to go and represent him in court. If he did not know of the pendency of the action, no lawyer would have been hired. So it was a mere technicality. In my first statement on this, I said, well, the Supreme Court has sacrificed justice on the altar of technicalities. And this is a court I know, because I have practiced before the court several times. It's a court that does not give weight to technicality. It always says that we want to carry out, we want to achieve substantial justice. And here, substantial justice would have been achieved if we had gone into trial. They look at the merits of our complaint. They know, you make this allegation of cooking pots. Yeah? There is no evidence, we do not believe that evidence. But how can you refuse to believe the evidence when you have the video? Fabu Jata, Fabu Sanarada, the milling machine was given in Kiang, Vilapunda. It's in video. How can anybody disbelieve that? All these things that we are saying, they are all in video. As I said, we are sending this electronic to all of you, and you see them. So if we were given the opportunity to go to trial, justice would have been done. And then it would be left for the Supreme Court to decide whether those acts amounted to corrupt practices or not corrupt practices. If they decide that it doesn't amount to corrupt practices, we will decide, well, okay, the Supreme Court has heard us, has allowed us to give our evidence, but they do not agree that this amounts to corrupt practices. That would have been justice. So, again, as Mr. Stahl has said, maybe these things need to review, but that's not the position of the court. The court is not saying that these laws need to be reviewed. What the court is that lawyers should pay attention to these rules.
Yes. So in other words, you're saying there is a weakness on the side of the judicial system for not letting you present your case?
Well, I'm not sure whether it's a weakness, but I say that it is really, for me, it is really devaluing justice. But you are not putting premium on justice. You are putting premium on technicality. I'm not sure. I don't think it's. I cannot say that it's weakness.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mama Ejere from the Voice newspaper. My question, Mr. Dava, is if UDP was in power, what are the mechanisms, or what are the mechanisms that you're going to put in place to make sure the Foni incident is not repeated? And how are you going to put? Do you believe in the eligibility of the Independent Electoral Commission?
You see, the Foni incident, if I were in office, would not arise because we'll address the root problem of it. That is the illicit timber trade. And we would have taken before now steps to ensure that no illicit timber comes from southern Senegal to the Gambia, to any part of the world. And of course, that will be a reason why the Senegalese security will not intervene on the Gambian territory in these matters. But more important than that is that we would make sure that the mandate of whether Senegalese troops or economic troops will make sure that their mandates are quite clearly spelled out. That whatever takes place in the Gambian territory will be for the Gambian security officers. Of course, that does not rule out, or that will not rule out the fact that there will be cooperation between the Gambian security and these other security outfits. But it will be the Gambian security that will be completely in charge of whatever takes place in our territory. What takes place in other places is cannot be our concern. So that's certainly that would be a way that one of the ways that we will deal with it. Now, as to the, I'm sure you mean is eligibility. I'm sure you mean fairness. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. Well, you know, what we have now is the IEC as it's constituted, and we just have to live with that until better times. You know, when I present the next pieces of evidence on the electoral malpractices, then people will start questioning themselves whether this is the IEC that we should have. Yeah? But for now, this is the IEC that we have, and it is the institution that we have to work with. And of course, maybe when they hear some of the revelations that we'll be making, maybe some of them might consider resigning to say that I cannot continue to work in this institution under these circumstances, maybe. But as they say, what cannot be enjoyed must be enjoyed. I think that's what they say. Yeah? You know, so you just have to go on with elections with them. I'm not pronouncing on their fairness or their lack of fairness. I don't want to make any pronouncement on that. There's that lady there.
Bakary Camara ba officiel ekidabo ni kochono ni anata ekeneya bolom kabo ila koreo dinoma nele aloko ini denta ina patiola ni ikani miro sono wati ndinna nin itada fo ila winota ya dumi blokono etaka fili larinde ikata ko fo wato man si digle take kamba wayatina iman sontala kata ila wino ni kamano Najile 2002 or 2001 main candidate election order 2002 ayatina ima more londi because of grounds of Binyani. In 2002 londi balia, I mean this year yawakili mune yefada obekumala 2%.
Mamira ngankodi yamenfo binola mamira ngankodi ala ngankodi ala no be bultani fulo la le kan fa exactly be bultani fulo la le no kan don ite fam fala bare ni wucho suti ada nyaaw nya tilitan wucho kono nganyem men foten mol men foten ani bina men tilitan wucho kono lo mo wo investigation o ka nintil tan tambi kan kunna non don ditano na nun ko so sitano dame olom court adun tata court le ko luaya alandi nyanya nyata kala wolto kata man fam mahana kunna bino kadun ma ngam fo ni ajibe ngam court na nyin karo men kijeto ma fa ko de ko ya dikla ka fo sen double winta to ko ya dikla ka anama baro la election o amman kadi anil luwa manta nyola election o ya tinya ya boy ba election o ko tenke so ammanke ka fo ko ko winta yama so mi dala ko bari ko ke ka to fayo nya manta silola so a nyantale ay janjang na janjanta ba election e ko tenke so amanga ka ko ngambulo laño kanado manta na wata jo nyanta bayra dame manta jo kata wata jo ka ba je mole ke yes yem memfo yem memfo lun so totale fonti tang na den klolu den alka den klo mella walu dan fana ngala yes ya long hadama din ni bal fayale kana ke konke bati konke ba katinyaro leke to den le bulano ko ni ko balo be kan nyan wa wato nin koy ko do ad nin ka do bole ka Foni ke jamale ni obi kasar la bi wato wandel yudi tu kon nin sida nsi solo sadden sa kumbo wato wade nin sida yaya sise ye membum talindi sala ko kumbo fon laftal ko ten ka bang na continue ka mo mo nyon kasabi nyola kela saya kumbo and mamira ko nyanta Gambia din killing yamarla kafako ta yenyim manya ke mensi ke banko molie nim saputi ay kem fay min nim saputi mo mamira nyanta so wala yatinna fondin ko ñoo pour que iji so sumayana ke dani kaf ko say fak nak kilimbi je to nganyat no la ngacho en kay ko temme be sedente ite laftale te mu soso fandi ko kay ko te laftale mu soso yeddi mbayal so banni fakata te ye bu ite futula ite ko la sotla isa ko karo nda do atende sa to fata makni din mamira nyanta as a leader Membilitan democracy mo ko sifal na Afrika wala yatinna manson mo fundi ni men ka kulan ka fa alma bula luwani ikanyi men ko nganyo men ko mamira lokun kilin koma ni kemi sembi jantole ani LR alpha don be ye men fonye about their own constituency ko Supreme Court ko ite kito kala bantelbe kito kala de ko be kito kala nyaade ko be kito kala kaaje ko ila constituency ni ganyo e ke joto la dipto e ganye sa wolom kitiyoti be constituency yo be nyanta men kala kaaje ko every constituency UDP mo lon di jeto ye ganye jeto keloni ko be men kala in the street an ngata ngaka in the ballot box ngakato ta ngadi na dipto na dipto le National Assembly control mendi ata UDP ay ke National Assembly ay ke banko wala ko di ni ala ka ko nyata men 2001 yes na fonko na mansona take part in elections adam kule di ngamen ni Mr. Bake nena mandi sonta or nena manke part of edition of the executive men yen nimisa ko si kad ko sita le sangi lulu UDP activities nyolo in the constituencies nyolo amanta nyama sanjilu amanta nyama adu ko yenna koni aya sign the comedy kadwal election 2001 and 2002 National Assembly election ninta da jeto no yama mesira male billan but no withdrawal nyen aya kendi victa banko kan victa in National Assembly ngamiran tatala for a little while doron nada deputy kiliso de National Assembly kabra baba job kabra dunda problem kono by election kata jeto kemeson contest then then we are wala na dipto ngamiran na dipto so no in the National Assembly jeto bare a manque decision me yalon kafoko debe in UDP en ko la kake kafoko ha ni kata fo tata nyamen ni dol fanal ni do fana mitaw nyaale amana fa so no nin convoke la de correct la muso bota na wulli in fact wulli muso dolom as part of a delegation mus warowula from 7 constituencies in URR inata janto wulli la delegation nyaton ko konyoko nammem foye kabrina do wulli ko ibe mo lon lale hanata be kata kesa worda mane sotla ay lo ay kata kesa woro ni soto kadi ko saje kabo ko wala mo telefona nyaati je ko tante mo wala ko makabo ko de mo lon ladlato hanata kabo ko lo kata sabadan na sotla je do at least maado na kabo ko nyendula nyambanko kande nyendula kado na dudla sotle na kacha nyon sotle so wala yati na this year menkata 2002 ngan ay nimsa pakele adu mamira abekala ko denke 2011 akatale barwo all the parties ne le fana agreed kabako abekala all the parties doi PPP UDP GMC not all the parties mele alon kabako they have the fonko the parties mele alon kabako we are advocating for electoral reforms the gova wala ya fenke ba wonu man ta sort ni na adate sort no la so we are going to contest all the elections all the seats the son of kuyo ken na ko tanke me ya alon kabako kala ni sa kuke it is because of more boycott ka wala ya na ki hani ki ya west ye APRC ye National Assembly members of the Jedo. What they are can Bakau, APRC, the National Assembly members of the Jedo. So we are not going to go into that type of situation. May I look at party on your back begin like Bangkok. Or Silafula Lebala is coming, killing Yafun Jadam Bedokam, the protest have contact Safla. Fula eta luwales lora eta court and wasilo fonga ya mano sokala kadu mani na fina court fana ma fail na fa mi dala court dal hanni be fail ay ko ni nyong men kata dem yalo mota fula ka ko man kessa sama court ba de la court ya fona ko man kessa na court so we seek advice na ya solo ya fonye I take your questions in reverse order. My relationship with Mama Kande is very cordial. We have never been treating each other at arm's length. We consult, we share information, so our relationship is good. Now, when you talked about whether I contacted Mr. Ryan, probably mean whether I contacted Mr. Fao. I thought I guess that's your question. Well, Mr. Fao has contacted. Yeah. Well, certainly, when Mr. Fao thought it fit to dissociate himself with the statement, he called me and told me that he was going to have a press briefing and to inform the press that he was no longer part of the decision that was taken on that day, and I really accepted and respected his decision. And the background to it is that certainly we were having meeting UDP, Gambia for All, and Marisol, Madam Marisol. I'm sorry, Marisol, please, you will forgive me. I continue to say Marisol without saying Mrs. Marisol, please forgive me for that. I'm going to campaign because we are so party that, I'm the first name tag, So, Mama Kande came in, and SFL also came in, and certainly I wasn't aware that SFL was coming. I had no previous information that he was coming, and I did not really also ask that he comes to that meeting. I asked GFA and Madam Sondebane, because they endorsed my candidature, and I thought that out of respect, out of courtesy, whatever we are doing, I should really have them invited to be part of that meeting. And there's a first draft was done by our senior administrative secretary. So our senior administrative secretary did the first draft, and I think the most important part of that draft was that we have grave reservations about the results. That was the draft that we had, and of course Mr. Fall suggested that that was too weak a word. We should say we reject the results. To say that we have grave reservations is not enough. We should say that we reject the results in total. And one of the persons at the meeting said, well, we have, before rejection, since we make a reservation, do our investigations, and when we have reason, then we can come out and say we reject the results. But then, we finally agreed that the word rejected should be inserted and the word grave reservation should be deleted. And when he decided that he would vote no, we respected his opinion, and that we had no problems with it at all. And he gave his reasons for really not wanting to be part of it. The other issue is whether I was invited. Well, I wasn't invited, and up to 11:30 p.m. of the eve of the inauguration, I was in my sitting room watching television, and I came out before I went to bed to ask my guards whether anybody had brought any invitation or any letter, and they told me no, there was none. And in the morning, also, by 9 o'clock, I went out and asked if any letter had been dropped for me. I was told no. Well, so I wasn't invited. Maybe I was being regarded as a contestant, that I was one who opposed President Adama Barrow. Maybe that's why they did not invite me. But I thought that as a former vice president, forget about the fact that I contested elections with President Adama Barrow and was. Forget about that. But I am former vice president, and I would have thought that as a former vice president, I would be invited in that capacity. But again, that was not done. So I didn't attend because I was not treated as a former vice president, and I was also not treated as a contestant. Maybe if I had congratulated President Adama Barrow, maybe I would have been invited. But that's the issue. So let it be noted. Even during Yajamen's time, official functions, I always attended. I never shied away from attending official functions. It is party functions that I refuse to attend. The Yajamen's time, July 22nd events, I refuse to attend. But when it comes to matters of the Gambia, independence and so forth, I always attended, unless I'm not invited. So that answers your question.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I think that was the last question, and we want to thank you very much for coming and for coming in your numbers. And like the party is going to be a series, you will be notified in good time. Ngeen muna ñu bokk ci waxtaan bi lii waxtaan la rek laajte yi fi laajte gis nañ ne yëpp ci soose la ak angale. waaye dañoo bëgg a bamtuwaat rek ne waxtaan moo xew suñ diggante ñun ay doomi réew ñu ngi gërëm taskati xibaar yi parce que ñun ñëpp lañ invite waaye gis nañ ne am na ñoo xam ne ñu ñoo ñëw suñ leen invité GRTS si boppam invite nañ ko ñëwul dafa am solo rek pour suñu wax affaire yi réew mi ñu wax ko ci dal ak ci teranga ak ci yar dafa am solo rek pour su fekkee ne réeroo nañ ñu waxtaan suñu waxtaanee dinañ jubóo so ci turi parti leader bi ak ci turi national executive bi maa ngi leen ak gërëm di leen sant seen teewaay ak seen liggéey réew parce que liggéey réew bi ñun ñëpp a ko bokka amul xaj ak seen ñun ñëpp a ci am ku nekk da ngaa béy sa waar def li nga mun maa ngi leen a sant di leen gërëm jërëjëf ñëpp thank you very much for coming and have a good day thank you